So my name is Omar Abasad. It is 3:49 p.m., July 18th, 2019. So I posted a bunch of tweets today. Those are mine, ROSHINI911. Last time I looked. My Twitter account is hacked. I tried to go through the tweets and delete the ones that don't belong there. So I tweeted about that ongoing push from the building to have me removed from the building. And the way it's being done. So because it is a community targeting program, most people who are in contact with me would know about the program and would know about the reporting that's going on within the community that's made public about me. So everywhere I go, there is an infiltrator that's there who is actually following me around because I am being gang stalked, gang tracked. I hear there is an app that's going on that I know of at least about 15 years now. And so there is somebody around who is actually instigating situations to encourage people around me to join in the conversation about what's being reported about me. So I'm being defamed. So all the reports and all the suspicions that are being reported about me are being made public. Um, Either through the meetings that are held about me in the community or in corporations or in this building in which I live. And these meetings, the contents of these meetings are being made public, word of mouth, texting, and so on, internet. So, and as well as because I'm a target, infiltrate, as I said, is always in my environment to instigate situations and to harass me about what's being reported about me, all lies. Frame setups lies, twisted situations to make things normal everyday living look criminal, to put a criminal light in my daily living to portray me as a criminal. So this would justify my getting harassed and lynched, basically. So the reports that are being submitted about me are locking me out of the job market because they're public. Employers also know about it. And it's very difficult for me to get a job unless the informant who is working with the cops, or the cops I'm suspecting directly, places me or works with somebody who places me in a company that has an informant planted there, or the manager would act as an informant to report about me and keep an eye on me, quote unquote, and to keep a running file on me. This is the only way I would be able to get a job if I'm being reported on. How do I know this? Of course, there's no disclosure because this is what I am facing in the workplace. I'm facing harassment. I'm experiencing sexual harassment, incited situations, instigated situations. I'm being experimented on while I'm doing my job. The contents of my job are being used to run experiments on me. My screen, I suspect, is remotely monitored and interfered with. My system is logged on and things are changed on my screen. Contents of my work is changed remotely as part of tests and part of experiments that's being run in the workplace to get reports to report to this management team. So if I'm in a workplace, then the management team is within the workplace. There is one in this building. I'm harassed about it all the time outside the window. And the people who are taking part, contractors, patrons in the loading dock, residents who follow me around, residents who have their family members follow me around. So I'm being updated and I'm being terrorized about what's being done. And the idea of terrorization, of course, is based on non disclosure. You cannot be terrorized with something that you know already. You're terrorized with something that you don't know. or you're terrorized about something that will be done to you or were done to you remotely and is not being disclosed to you. And is be you're being covertly affected, and you may realize what the effects are of the action days after it's being done, but you're harassed about it, terrorized about it. This is what we did, and you wonder, well, what is going to be the fallout of what was done. Where one example I'll give you of terrorization is, if you apply for a loan, somebody will come along and say, we're going to put a block on it, no money for you. Or you apply for a job, no job for you. You will not get called back. And they will actually call the company's name because my email account is hacked. As a target, everything is known about you, especially by the person who has the receipt. There is one main person, this whole picture, in this whole scenario, this setup, that is the boss, the manager. He makes the decision. He or she makes the decision about what it is that has to be done when everything is put together, all the information is gathered and discussed. What is the steps taken? What are the steps taken to bring down the person, to degrade the person, to get a point where I heard they're going to reverse it. In other words, take away my credit, and then you're going to give you back your credit, or take away the job, and we're going to give you back a job if you start showing the new client, the new seed is the term being used. Rick, for instance, is a new seed. You start, she already, quote unquote, she already started masturbating with Rick. She already started leaving the lights on for Rick. She already started wearing a nightie for Rick. This is imprinting. This is imprinting of the new client after the target is being sold. Of course, I don't leave my lights on if the light is on and I fall asleep, or I have it on while I'm reading, whatever, and I fall asleep. That doesn't mean I'm leaving the lights on for anybody who may be looking. If I wear a nightie, well, I always, it's normal to wear a nightie to go to sleep. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. Depends on what's going on that day and how tired I am and whatever. Um, what the point is, what I do inside my home, of course, it's not meant for anybody else viewing pleasure, but the comments that are made around me is to make me understand that I am under remote surveillance. Remote custody is the term I heard, and somebody is looking at me. And right now, it's Rick. And Rick is living with me like a husband because he could see me share naked, and I have no privacy. And he may as well be a husband. I heard he had joined me as well, whatever that means. And he is giving evidence against me based on this remote viewing. This is all part of the criminal activity taking place under the cover of flagging and outsourced monitoring. This is the criminal activity of trafficking that is taking place. So, what I do inside my home, of course, like I said, is not intended for anybody's viewing. I will not change my routine. I will not change anything I do inside my home any differently. Um, uh, if you think I'm gross, then first of all, you're breaking the law looking at me, whoever it is that's looking. How many number of people looked, rich, poor, I really don't give a rat's behind who is looking. If they choose to do it and break the law, and will most likely get prosecuted at some point because there is digital information and digital footprinting for this. Somebody's recording it. So I am not going to change my routine for anybody. It could be the queen looking, and I'm sure she's not. I'm just saying, just to make a point. Um, Makes no difference to me. I will live my life inside of my home the way I choose. If I want to be gross, then I'll be gross. It's really nobody's business. Absolutely nobody's business. This sort of invasion of privacy should not be taking place. And I'm speaking out because this is how strongly I believe that privacy is important, and there has to be a balance between the security of our environment and our country and private citizens' privacy. It should not be this easy to take away somebody's privacy based on suspicions and based on criminal activity like trafficking, remote trafficking. It should not be this easy to take it away. There has to be some sort of accountability. People should not be able to openly talk about raping women, looking at them, remotely gerbling them, which is remote rape, and selling them and passing them around and making a woman common. This should not be done. It should not be this easy to do it. It's just right now, this is the culture in which we live. We're living in a rape culture, and it's coming from a lot of the people who we are looking up to for leadership. And some of the people who are in these leadership positions are encouraging these types of practices against women. They are misogynistic in their approach and their attitude. And this is on a global basis. I'm not pointing to any one country. I think this is a global phenomenon. Like take India for example. Very misogynistic in their. I'm not going to speak to the laws. I imagine that the laws can be changed, but in attitude. I mean, people can have a law, a country can have a law on the books, and if it's not being upheld, and if the police is not making sure that it is being upheld, that the law is useless, completely and utterly useless. As in the community targeting program, there is a law about illegal surveillance, there's a law about rape, there's a law about stalking, there's a law about spying, there's a lot of laws about harassment. But if you're a target, then the police is not going to make sure that these laws are upheld when they are being broken while violating a target. So it's an underlying um, when it comes to women, a misogynistic attitude that's underlying this practice. But it's not only that. I think it's a violation of human rights. It's about gross violation of human rights. Of course, women's rights is a sub group of human rights. So let's talk about human rights. It's just right now we are living in a world where human rights are being eroded, and our gains, and the way in my opinion, our gains, the things that we fought so hard for, and that we put in place as a civilized society, global civilized society, these things are being eroded. And we have to take action to keep our rights, basically, keep our human rights. Because this is what is the basis of civilization. This is the basis of civilization. If we don't have human rights, then we are just animals. This is what separates us from other living beings that shares this planet with us. Our ability to think on a higher level and make decisions and make and have and choose actions that respects human rights. This is what makes us different. If we lose it, then we go right back down to animal status. Basically, we lose our our position of being at the top of the food chain. Let's for lack of a better term, let's say food chain, the animal kingdom. Uh, you know, um, because right now we are at the top still. But if we give up our human rights, then we're no different from the animals. And as Deepak Chopra, and I quote him a lot because a lot of what he says makes sense, resonates with me. Um, he referred to the human body as something very powerful, our brain, our system, our nervous system, very developed and very powerful, and we have the potential using the body that we have as opposed to another animal's body. Um, the human body has the potential of doing tremendous things, great things, to evolve to the point where we don't even need the body. This is how powerful we are. But we have to keep our human rights. We cannot allow people to take it away from us. Just cannot allow that to happen. I'm doing my best by speaking out here and exposing the way I'm being violated on a daily basis, on a minute by minute basis, actually, because I'm being remotely assaulted on a daily, minute by minute basis. I'm being violated by being looked at 24/7. So, my way of trying to fight that erosion of our human rights is to expose it, to talk about it, to let people know how it's being done, who is doing it, and one person can actually make a huge difference. Don't ever think that you're just one person and one person cannot make a difference. If Nelson Mandela thought that, then there would be no Nelson Mandela. If Gandhi didn't think that, there would be no Gandhi. There would be no free India. So one person can make a difference, especially with the technology that we have today. We have to stand up and fight for our human rights.